שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. יאללה לי 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 לי, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. יאללה לי 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 לי, יאללה לי 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 לי, יאללה לי 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 לי, יאללה לי 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 לי. Yay la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom, friends. Before we get started for real, if any of you have the honor of doing a reading this morning and you would like the sheet, you'll find it in your prayer book as well, but there are sheets with your name on it if you know that you have an honor right over there that you can grab. When you come to do your honor, you'll just stand right in front of the microphone. You can adjust it up and down if you need, and it'll pick you up. And take a second if you brought your cell phone in or if you have a watch that beeps to go ahead and put it on to silent. Just take a second if you need. And welcome, by the way, to anybody joining us online. Shabbat Shalom to everybody who is here with us. I'm Rabbi Rachel, here with our cantoral soloist, Jessica Tillum, and I hope you guys are quite familiar with the wonderful Miss Olivia here, who is becoming Bhatt Mitzvah this morning. Under your seats, you should have a red siddur. Our apologies if you peek under your seat and there isn't one. There's probably one under a seat nearby. But our red siddur is what we'll be praying from this morning. And if you would open it up into any page, you'll see that we have Hebrew in Hebrew letters on the far right. The center, you'll see our transliteration. That is the English version of the Hebrew. And of course, our translation. And so friends, always, always, always remember that the energy that you guys send up here to Olivia, that helps her to send that energy back down to you. It's a highly participatory service. We do lilas, we do claps, we do the actual words, whatever you're comfortable praying, we invite you to join in with us. If you need to step out of the sanctuary for any reason, you can do so over here. There's bathrooms there too. Over there, there's bathrooms that way. We can exit through the back, or if needed, behind me as well. Take a second, though, turn to somebody that you did not drive here with, wish them a Shabbat Shalom, and we'll join back together in just a second on page 3.
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. יאללה לי 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 לי, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. יאללה לי 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 לי.
All right, friends, we're going to turn in our prayer books to page 5. Harvey and Beth, if you guys will come on up to do the presentation here of our Talit. All right, so Olivia, face your parents. Get a little closer here.
As this talit is draped around your shoulders, may the voices of the generations speak to you. May you know that there is a people, a rich heritage to which you belong, a sacred place from which you are connected to all who dwell on earth.
As you are embraced in the folds of this talit, so too are you wrapped in the loving embrace of your family, community, and this holy congregation. May the simplest of garments always be a symbol for you of God's abiding and sheltering presence.
As you recite the blessing and wrap yourself in this talit, we proudly watch and celebrate with you as you accept your place in the chain of our tradition.
All right, so Mom and Dad, go ahead and hold the talit, and you'll recite your blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzi.
We say Amen. All right, help wrap. Okay, getting tears already. I love it. I love it. So, stay up here for a second, guys. Stay up here, nice and close. And because we have reached this special moment in time, this special day, a day of celebration, we come together for lots of reasons, this one extra special. So we join together marking that day with Shechianu on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Lots of chances for hugs this morning. This is a really good one. All right, friends, our prayers continue on page 6 as Olivia offers us her prayer for becoming Bat Mitzvah.
God be with me on this occasion of my bat mitzvah. Help me make meaningful the covenant you now establish with me. Sustain with a sense of holiness. Inspire me a desire to be special. I do not ask that you make my life easy, resolve my problems, map out the direction of my life. I ask only that you strengthen within me the desire to mold and shape my life in accordance with your will. In this hour of my bat mitzvah, I invoke your blessings upon my parents and friends, and all who have loved and cared for me and have brought me to this time of gladness. Give them joy and fulfillment in my growth and my achievement, you who turn the hearts of children to their parents and the hearts of parents to their children.
Amen, amen. So on pages 7, 8, and 9, we have our morning blessings, our Nasim B'chol Yom, where we're thanking God for very basic daily miracles. And to say basic daily miracles is kind of an oxymoron, that if it's a miracle, can it really be every day? And Olivia, when we wake up, in so many ways, that's a miracle, that we have this chance to open our eyes, that we have a chance to walk freely in the ways that we can, that we can literally get up. These are all those minor pieces of our life that when we really think down deep about it, each time it happens in its own way, it's a miracle. And so we will pray these words together, pages 7, 8, and 9. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lasech v'bina lavchin ben yom uvein laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokah haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechim mitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish sharumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten leya'ef koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir sheina me'enai utnuma me'afapai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tzelem Elohim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani bat chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shesani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael b'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, oter Yisrael b'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Friends, we turn to page 13 for a prayer of welcoming. This is, Olivia, one of the roles that you've already played as a child of the congregation, which is to be this wonderful smiling face to all who walk into the synagogue. If you ever need that kind face to make you feel okay when you walk into a room, Olivia's the one to give you that little sheepish smile that I know you do. And that is the start of being a welcoming community. So if you'll lead us, page 13, this is a responsive prayer.
May the door of the synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for fellowship.
May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture.
May the door of the synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride.
May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet.
May it be too high to admit indifference, selfishness, and harshness.
May this synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. We rise for our Baruch, page 15.
Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruch hu et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach. Hamevorach leolam vaed. Hamevorach. Hamevorach leolam vaed.
Friends, we're still on page 15 here, and in a second, Olivia is going to lead us in Yotzer Or. Olivia, this is a prayer about creation. And one of the things I like to talk about is that we, as part of God's creation, continue to live out as co-creators with God. So what does that mean? That means that the things that we do in the world have power. The actions that we take have power, that we are, with that godly spark in each of us, we're a part of a co-creator with God as our partner. And so when we think about the words that we speak and the actions that we take, what we're trying to do, especially as we enter into this adulthood, is to make those actions have a purpose, have meaning, and to just continue to bring out that wonderful goodness that I know you hold so deep inside. So friends, Olivia is going to help lead us together in Yotzer Or.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer Or uvarei hoshech, oseh shalom uvarei et hakol. Ameir la'aretz v'ladarim alecha, rahamim uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom, tamid ma'aseh v'reshit. Marabu ma'asecha Adonai kulam b'chochma asita, mala ha'aretz kinyanecha. Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, ve'al moreh or eshasita yafarucha selah, or chadash al tzion ta'ir v'nizkeh kulanu mechira le'oro. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer hame'oro.
Beautiful. And on page 16, we have Ahava Rabbah, a prayer of God's love for us. And this love that it speaks of in Ahava Rabbah, it's one where God is asking us to find a particular love inside so that we can share it with others. It's building on that Yotzer Or, that if we are being those co-creators, let's use that time to bring about more love, a little less hate. And in doing so, God's abundant love really reaches us. It reaches out to everybody around us. And so, Olivia, I know that you bring all kinds of love into this world. And so our prayer for you at this congregation is that you continue to share it with your Davis community, with your Emanu-El community, and with the wider community. Ahava Rabbah, page 16.
Ahava Rabbah Ahavtanu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hemla Gedolah B'Terah Hamalta Aleinu, Ba'avor Avotenu V'Imotenu, Shabbathu V'Hab Ba'at Lamdim, Hukei Chayim, Kin Techonenu, Ut Lamdinu, Hamra Chem Aleinu, V'Ten Levienu, Halvin Osaskil, Lishmoa Lilmod Ulamid, Lishmor V'La'asot Ulkayim, Et Kol Divrei Talmud Toratecha Be'Ahava, Baruch Atah Adonai,
Habocher Be'amo Yisrael Be'ahava. Friends, we stand tall. We declare God's oneness. Words of Shema, page 18.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. Also on page 18 into 19, we have Ve'ahavta. And Olivia, what did I tell you about this prayer last night? That last night was going to be the last time that you led us in that prayer as a child of the congregation. I was like a little off because technically right now is the last time because you haven't been called to the Torah yet. I mean, this is your service of becoming Bat Mitzvah, so we're like in that in-between liminal space, okay? But this is really the last time that when you're chanting this, that you are sharing with us, teach them faithfully to your children, and being the child. This is that final moment of being that child, that now teach them faithfully to your children will become not just future children of yours, should you want to have those later in life, but the children of the congregation, anybody who is younger in age than you. And today is a special day because you get to teach not just folks who are younger than you, but everybody who's here, everybody who loves you. You are our teacher today. Ve'ahavta, page 18.
Et Adonai Elohecha Bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha uvlechtecha v'derech U'shochbecha u'vkumecha U'kshartam le'ot al yadecha V'hayu letotafot bein einecha U'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha U'visharecha Leman tizkeru V'asitem et kol mitzvotai V'tem kedoshim le'elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher Hoteiti Echem, Me'eretz Mitzrayim, Lehiot Lachem Le'Elohim, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Emet. On the middle bottom of page 19, we have this responsive prayer that Olivia will once again lead us in, and it is a prayer that helps us get ready for Michamocha, a prayer of freedom and redemption.
Adonai, our God, you took us out of slavery in Egypt, and you made us free.
You were in the courage with which we overcame 40 years of desert wandering.
Even today, you are in the hope that like a beam of light brightens in the darkness of suffering and despair.
You are in the love that creates, protects, forgives.
You were at the sea. We felt your goodness and your love. and we sang a new song to you, and still today we sing that song.
We praise you, Adonai, Redeemer of Israel. Michamocha, page 20.
Ya Elai, lai, 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 lai. Ya Elai, lai, 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 lai. Ya Elai, lai, 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 lai. Ya Elai, lai, 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 lai. Mi chamocha ba'alim Adonai, mi chamocha neder b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osei felet, Nora tehilot osei felet. Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai imloch le'olam le'olam va'ed. Mi chamocha ba'alim Adonai, mi chamocha neder b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osei felet, Nora tehilot osei felet.
Friends, on page 21, part of our service, we've been building up to this moment in prayer. There's two big arcs. One is here, reaching the Amidah. The next will be at our Torah service. And so here at our Amidah, it's a prayer connecting us to generations past, generations still to come. So please rise, page 21.
Do I turn it?
Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo v'Ahava, Melech Ozer u'Mashiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Abraham v'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia, Morid hatal, Mechalkel chaim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha bal gevurot, Umido melech, Melech memit, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, B'ne'eman atah lechayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol.
Friends, you will remain standing here, and I'd like to call for Dana Davis and Ron and Michelle Horowitz to head to our microphone to help lead us in this responsive prayer on page 23. Dana Davis, you coming too? Yep.
May the ways of the holiness varied are its paths.
There is holiness when we strive to be true to the best we know.
There is holiness when we are kind to others.
There is holiness when we strive for harmony in all of our relationships.
There is holiness when people of different backgrounds work together for a common future.
There is holiness when people seek justice and struggle for righteousness.
There is holiness when people create lasting poetry or song or philosophy.
There is holiness when we forget what divides us and remember what unites us.
Holy, holy, holy is Adonai our God.
Amen, amen. Friends, we continue page 24, our Kedusha.
Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, כך כתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה על זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור. לדור ודור. לדור ודור נגיד גם לך. לדור ודור. לדור ודור. לדור ודור נגיד גם לך. ולנצח נצחים קדושתך קדיש, קדושתך נקדיש. בשיבך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם לעולם ועד. לדור ודור. לדור ודור. לדור ודור. לדור ודור נגיד גד לך. לדור ודור. לדור ודור. לדור ודור נגיד גד לך. כי המלך גדול גדול וקדוש 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 אתה. כי המלך גדול וקדוש 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 אתה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Amen. Please be seated. We're on the bottom of page 25. We pray responsively with Olivia.
From of old, the Jewish people have seen Shabbat as a unique gift, a token of its covenant with God.
Shabbat is the most cherished creation of the Jewish spirit. It mirrors the essence of the Jewish soul.
Shabbat has never been merely a day of rest from labor. It has always been a break from the routine of everyday life.
Shabbat is a symbol of liberation and triumph, of the holy over the profane, of spirit over matter.
In every age, Shabbat afforded the Jew a sacred retreat, a haven of safety, a fountain of new strength, and perpetual renewal.
Shabbat nurtures family life in love and harmony. A home at peace welcomes Shabbat with joy.
Shabbat is part of nature's design, the very purpose of creation, and all that was created attained its fulfillment in Shabbat.
Shabbat is our hope, the calm haven where all the weary find rest. With the coming of Shabbat, redemption and peace enter the world. Page 26, our prayer for Shabbat, Yismechu.
ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. מקדשי שבי שבת. רציתך שבת. ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ובשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת. חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. זכר Bereshit Shabbat Yismechu b'malachutecha Shomrei 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat.
On page 27, if Wallace Harrell and Laura Ann Harrell will come on up to our microphone to lead us in this responsive prayer.
Our world is full of wonders and miracles, but all it takes is one little hand placed before our eyes and we see nothing.
But miracles are all around us and within us. We are each walking miracles.
When we are bruised, what miracle heals us? When we see beauty, what miracle elevates us? When we hear music, what miracle moves us?
When we see suffering, what miracle saddens us? When we give and receive love, what miracle warms us? When we pray, what miracle renews us?
Every springtime is a miracle. Every snowflake is a miracle. The thoughts we think, the words we speak, the hopes we cherish, each is a miracle.
For all these miracles, may your name be exalted and blessed forever and ever. Thank you. And Beverly Harrell, Jenny and Kelly Myrick, and Ginger and Edwin Myrick for our responsive reading on page 28.
Our God, we know there is no greater gift than peace. Help us to find the peace that comes from the love of your Torah.
Inspire us to banish hatred, war, bloodshed, and bigotry.
Help us to establish forever one human family doing your will in love and peace.
Help us to find peace in ourselves and among all people. O God of peace, bless us with peace.
You have given us the power, O God, to bring peace and justice into the world. May we always love peace and pursue it, and love our fellow creatures. Fill us with kindness, wisdom, and love. Then shall we learn to live in peace. Blessed is God, teacher of peace. Our prayer for peace, Sim Shalom, page 28.
Sim, shalom, sim, shalom, sim, shalom, tova uveracha. Sim, shalom, sim, shalom, sim, shalom, tova uveracha. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la la. Sim, shalom, sim, shalom, sim, shalom, tova uveracha.
Take a few moments for silent prayer and meditation, and in a second we will join back together at the bottom of page 30.
Oh, say shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oh, say shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ve'imeru amen.
Beth and Harvey, if you guys will come back on up here for our parent blessing found on page 31. Nice and close, guys.
Do you want to take turns?
Sure.
You go.
Oh, okay. May you live to see your world fulfilled. May your destiny be for worlds still to come. And may you trust in generations past and yet to be.
May your heart be filled with intuition and your words be filled with insight. May songs of praise ever be upon your tongue and your vision be on a straight path before you.
May your eyes shine with the light of holy words and your face reflect the brightness of the heavens. May your lips ever speak wisdom and your fulfillment be in righteousness.
A Jewish home opens its heart and its links to the generations is proclaimed. Today our child, nearly grown, is called to read from the Torah and is welcomed into the congregation. May this moment be blessed.
Amen. More chances for hugs, and you guys are going to stay on up here. Friends, we are transitioning now into our Torah service. And so at this time, let's see, we have Ian and Aiden Sherman coming up for our ark opening, so come on up. Kathleen and Scott Hoff, if you guys will also come and stand close to Jessica over here. And then any of our grandparents who are making their way up to the bima, now is the time for you to come on up, and you'll stand right next to Mom and Dad. Our ark openers, you guys head towards the ark. We're going to turn to page 32. Please rise. Ark openers, go ahead.
Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, udvar Adonai mirushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Li'amo Yisrael b'kedushato.
All right. So, everybody wave a little bit. Say hello. You can wave back. So, what I'm holding here, right, is our sacred scroll, our Torah. These words having been chanted for a really long time, not just here at Emanu-El, but it's a part of the Jewish people. And so you're entering a chain of tradition by getting to having the honor of chanting from this scroll today. And you wouldn't be able to stand here, right, if it wasn't for your parents. You can look at them. Look back at grandparents. Grandma down here, too. And behind them, you see great-grandparents. You know what I mean? Great. All of the people wrapping around this sanctuary several times so that you could be the one who is here standing with us today, getting ready to become formally Bhatt Mitzvah. And so what we're going to do is formally pass the Torah down the generations. And so a little hug to it. Hug and a kiss. Yep, perfect. All right. All set? All right.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadlul Adonai Iti Umeromama, Ushemo Yachdav. Lecha Adonai Hagidula v'Hagivura v'Hatiferet v'Hanetzach v'Hahod Ki hu b'shamayim u'va'aretz, ki hu b'shamayim u'va'aretz, lecha Adonai hamamlacha, lamid na'aseh lecho lerosh. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'yishtachavu lehakodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'yishtachavu lehakodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'yishtachavu lehakodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'yishtachavu lehakodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai.
The most gentle art closing ever. Okay, thanks guys. Please be seated. You see your spot? Do you see your spot? Put your rubber up. Put it where. Okay, perfect. It's rolling today. Okay. All right, so in just a moment, Olivia is going to have the chance to chant from our sacred Torah scroll for us. But before she can, it's good to know where we are chanting from. So friends, if you reach underneath your seats, you'll see that we have another 2 books. They're the same color, which is not helpful, but one will say the Torah on it. If it says anything but the Torah, you've grabbed the wrong one. Yep, see, wrong one. There you go. And friends, if you turn in the Torah, we are in the Torah portion Re'eh from the book of Deuteronomy. Chanting this morning chapter 11, verse 26 through 12:5, which can be found on page 1417. We're nearing the end here. So 1417, as well as 1420. And if you would like our blessings, those can be found on page 34. And so at this time, let me make sure I'm all set up. I think I handed over the wrong packet. Whew. Aha. This will be helpful, huh? All right. So our first aliyah, proud aunt and uncle, of course, Amy and Todd Sherman. Ya'amdu, Hannah Rivka, Bat Menachem Mendel Vachana, Tobias ben Moshe HaLevi v'Devora, la'aliyah. Okay, so we'll get our Torah nice and open here. Okay, and I'll do a little touch kiss here.
Yeah, for us.
Perfect, and then you've got your blessing, and you're good to go.
Okay. Baruch Adonai.
Baruch Hu et.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Ata Adonai.
Baruch Adonai
HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam. Asher batar banu mikol ha'amim. v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Hold on one sec.
Amen. Re'eh Anohi noten lifnehem hayom beraha uklala et habraha asher tismerun el mitzvot Adonai Elohehem asher Anohi metzabe ethem hayom behaklala im lo tismerun el mitzvot Adonai Elohehem Visartem min haderech asher anohi metzav ehem hayom lelehet ahare Elohim aharim asher lidatem.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Wonderful. Some hugs, and then just stand on that right in front of the piano for me. Perfect. All right, for our second Aliyah, proud grandparents Ann and Mel Burse. Ya'amdu, Chana bat Herschel ve'irit, Menachem Mendel ben Gedalia la'Aliyah.
Oh, here it is.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamavarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'haya ki v'yaha Adonai Elohecha el haaretz asher ata basham al rishta v'natata et havraha el har gerizim ve'et haklala el har eval halohema be'ever hayarden ahare derech mevo hashemesh be'eretz haknani hayoshev be'arava mo hagilgal etzel elone moreh ki atem ovrim et hayarden levo lereshe et haaretz asher Adonai Elohehem natin lahem bishartem otam bishartem ba.
Beautiful. Wow, wow, wow. All right, and our blessing for after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. All right, yep, and you guys just stand right here by the piano. All right, and it's time to call forward proud mom, dad, and brother, Beth, Harvey, and Charlie Burse. Ya'amdu, Herschel ben Menachem Mendel v'Chana, Chaim Gedalia ben Herschel la'Aliyah. Nice and close.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. ושמרתם לעשות את כל החוקים והמשפטים אשר אנוכי נותן לפניהם היום. אלה החוקים והמשפטים אשר תשמרו לעשות בארץ אשר נתן אדוני לאבותיך לך לרשתה כל הימים אשר אתם חיים על האדמה. עבדי תעבדון את כל המקומות אשר עבדו שם הגורים אשר אתם ישרתם אותם את אלוהיהם אל ההרים הרמים ועל הגבות ותחת כל עץ רענן.
Beautiful. All right, nice and close, guys, so the mic picks you up.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam atah b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. All right, lots of hugs. And you guys can head on down. And you have your spot marked? All right, so then we are, Mom and Dad and Charlie, don't go too far. I'm going to have you, Olivia, come take a quick seat next to Jessica for just a second. And so what I'm having Olivia do right now, number one, take a load off for just a minute. She's been standing a long time. But also, she's about to be called up to the bima as bat mitzvah for real, if you will. But this whole time, she's been working towards this exact moment. And if she was already standing up here, it's a little anticlimactic. And so instead, since Aliyah literally means going up, we get to formally call her up as bat mitzvah this morning. Tamad Ela bat Hershel Aliyah bat mitzvah. All right. So go ahead and kiss with your talit. We'll touch, kiss, bless. Bless.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Now before you start, guys, come back over. This is the big one. So even, Charlie, come over here and hold the bottom of the scroll.
I lost my spot.
Oh, we lost it. That's okay.
Oh, wait.
Yes.
Okay. V'nitztatztem et mitzbechotam, v'shivartem et matzevotam, v'asharehem tishrefun ba'esh, ufsile Elohehem tigadeun, v'abardetem et shemam min hamakom hahu, lo ta'asun kain l'Adonai Elohehem, ki im el hamakom asher yivhar Adonai Elohehem mikol shiftehem lasum et shemo sham lashikno tidresu uvatashama.
Beautiful. Last time of a touch kiss. And we bless.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tohinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Absolutely beautiful. And with our Torah in our midst, what we're going to do now is turn to page 35 for me, if you would, please. And on page 35, we have, Olivia, a blessing for your spiritual growth. So if you'll, Mom and Dad, come all the way around, flanking each side. Sorry, Charlie, kicking you out slightly. Make room for Dad. Charlie, come back over here. Excellent listening. Very good. See, bar mitzvah. Okay. So if the congregation will please rise as I offer this special Mishaberach. Mishaberach avotenu ve'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah, hu yivarech et Ela bat Hershel, shehigia lemitzvot v'alta laTorah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu yishmareha v'chayeha, v'chonen et libach, lihiot shalem im Adonai Elohav, v'hagot b'Torato lalechet bidrachav v'lishmor mitzvotav, v'timsachem v'seichel tov, b'nei Elohim v'Adam v'nomar, Amen, which means, may God who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless you, Olivia. Because you have come for an aliyah upon the age of mitzvot, we ask that the Holy One guard you and sustain you, helping you to be wholehearted in your faith, studying God's Torah, walking in God's ways, and fulfilling God's mitzvot. May you find favor before God and all people. And let us say, Amen. So friends, we're going to remain standing. Mom, Dad, and Charlie, you guys can head back down. If Candy Miller and Kim Ranlett will come on up, we're on page 36 for our Hagbah and Galila, which will really just be Galila today. I'll have you come step right here. If one of you will go get our Torah cover and our wimple, as it's called.
וזאת התורה אשר משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. יאללה לי 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 Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai.
Good. All right, please be seated. All right, so I know we didn't hold the Torah up for everybody to see exactly, but inside that scroll that you just read was lots and lots of Hebrew letters, no vowels, no pretty colors, no markers to help her know what to do. Instead, it was just a lot of hard work and many, many hours of study for her to chant Torah for us so beautifully as she just did. And that's a really big deal. I don't want to undersell here how hard it is to stand in front of a community and chant those words. And in addition to studying and being able to recite Torah from its original scroll, she also had the chance to study Torah and to learn about what it means to her, what she can teach us. And so now Olivia has the chance to share with us her words of Torah in her Devar Torah. And I'm going to get out of your way. All right, nice and loud.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
My Torah portion is Re'eh from the book of Deuteronomy. This portion takes place as the Israelites are about to cross the Jordan River and enter the Promised Land. They have been wandering the desert for 40 years. Parshat Re'eh begins with God telling the Israelites that he is giving them the Promised Land. In return, God expected the Israelites to follow all of his laws and commandments. If the Israelites followed them, their day would be blessed, but if not, their day would be cursed. God declared that the people who observe all of his laws, not just laws dealing with meat and animals, but as many other laws, are treasured. My Torah portion contains many different laws that God expected the Israelites to follow, but I connected the most with several topics. One topic was about dietary laws, such as the way meat is slaughtered and eaten. I connect with this because my family tries to keep most of the kosher laws. Even though not every Jewish person follows all of these laws, many people still follow a lot of them. One dietary law that many people know about is the law against eating pork products. Another law forbids mixing dairy and meat products. Although following these laws can be tough, it helps me identify as a Jew. Re'eh also talks about the treatment of Israelite slaves. We don't have slaves anymore, thank goodness, but when the Israelites did, they were still required to treat the slaves with respect. The Israelites were only allowed to keep their slaves for 6 years, which still sounds like a long time to me. When they set their slaves free, they had to give them lots of cattle and sheep. It proves that they had to show everyone respect and remember that they themselves were once slaves in Egypt. My Torah portion has many lessons. The one that I connect with the most is about bringing blessing instead of curses. My Torah portion talks a lot about rules, about how following these rules brings blessing, but ignoring the rules brings curse. I think God wanted to teach the Israelites about consequences and how decisions could affect their lives. I think the lesson of my Torah portion is that we make many decisions in our lives, and each one can have a good and or bad effect. Sometimes we make decisions that aren't life-changing, but still could have a positive or negative effect. God was telling these people that something good will happen if they make the right decision and follow his rules. In modern day, this happens all the time. I had a new friend come to camp this year, and our camp has a point-earning system that awards you with bandanas. There are cards you have to earn by doing activities, and the more points you earn, the closer you are to getting your bandana. I helped this friend earn points instead of earning points for myself. She felt blessed because she earned 2 bandanas. If I hadn't helped her, then she might not have had as much blessing. Bringing blessing is in our hands, not God's. We should all try to bring more blessing to the world. Becoming a Bhatt mitzvah means that I am choosing to take my Judaism seriously. This process has taught me about my Jewish identity and what being kosher is, and why I try my best to follow a lot of the kosher laws. It has also taught me more about the Torah. Beginning today, being Jewish is going to be a big part of my life. I plan to take being Jewish more seriously and to be more active in my Judaism. My first step will be being in the Madrahim program here at Emanu-El, where I will be teaching younger kids Hebrew. Another thing I have learned about is what a Reformed Zionist is. It means I believe that Israel should exist and have the same rights as all the other countries. Being a Reformed Zionist means that I have to learn about Israel. Being a Reformed Zionist means a lot to me. Another topic I learned about was Tikkun Olam, or repairing the earth. Tikkun Olam connects to my family because we all do things to restore the earth, like recycling and making sandwiches for the Mary Hall Freedom House. My mitzvah project was to raise money for the World Central Kitchen and to help Ukrainian refugees. For each donation we received, we gave a bracelet out saying Help Ukraine. World Central Kitchen goes around helping people in need and serving them hot meals. At the time of my mitzvah project, the war in Ukraine had just started and the Ukrainians needed a lot of help. Thank you to all of my friends. I'm so lucky to have you guys. Family, I'm so glad you guys are always here for me, especially now becoming a Bhatt mitzvah. You have all been so supportive since the day I started practicing. Cantor Barbara, I am so glad you're my tutor. I truly couldn't be up here without your help. Cantor Joanne, thank you for all your help on my Bhatt mitzvah. Rabbi Rachel, thank you for working with me on the Devar Torah and helping me with the whole process. I'm glad you're my rabbi. Miss Jessica, thank you for being here for my Bhatt mitzvah. I'm glad you're now at Temple Emanu-El. Bibi, Softa, and Poppy, thank you so much for being a big part of my life. I've loved spending time with all of you, especially on holidays. Charlie, you are the best brother ever. You are so supportive of me, and I couldn't do this without you. I'm glad you are there to help me prepare for my Bhatt mitzvah. But with all the time you spend looking at yourself in the mirror, I'm amazed you had time to prepare for your own Bhatt mitzvah. Mom, you are so supportive of me, not only for my Bhatt mitzvah, but for my whole life. You've been working so hard for this moment, and you have done so much for me. I love you, Mom. Dad, I seriously could not be here without you. I love all your dad jokes, and I love hanging out with you. Thank you. I love you, Dad. And thank you to everyone who's here today. You all helped me become a Bhatt mitzvah. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Beautiful words of Torah. I think we can all agree that we have indeed heard from a young adult in our congregation. And now it is time for us to transition to the prophetic portion of our service, the reading from the prophets. You can find the blessing on page 36, And if you'd like to follow along in the Haftarah, we are back in your Torah on page 1605, 1605. Blessings on page 36 of the Red Book.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar b'nivim tovim v'ratzah v'divrehem hana'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'b'nviei ha'emet v'tzedek. Ha'oi kol tzamich lehu lamayim v'asher ein lo kasech lehu shivru ve'ulhu ulhu shivru ve'lo kasech uve'lo mehir yain v'halav lama tishkelu kasech b'lo lehem yigiahem balo l'shabbat Shim'u shamoa elai ichlu tov v'tanag badeshen nafshehem hatu aznehem ulhu elai shim'u udhi nafshehem ve'echartem lahem beri olam haste David hane'emanim Hein ed la'umim netati nagid saveh la'umim Hein goy lo teda tikara bigoy lo yeda'ucha eleha hirotu laman Adonai Elohecha bikladosh Yisrael kifarach.
Blessing for after, page 37.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzor kol ha'alamim tzadik b'kol hadarot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer ve'oseh hamdaber kayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'nevi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnuha lekavod ultifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu mudim lach umbarhim ota yitbarach shimcha v'fi kol hai tamid le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch hu Baruch Shemo
Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you. And it is my pleasure. If Ian and Aiden Sherman, you guys did such a great job the first time, come on back up to help us open our ark. We are on page 39 as we prepare to return our Torah. Please rise.
Etz Chaim hi lama chazikim ba v'tomecha meushar deracheya darchei noam v'chol netivotecha shalom hashivenu
This is more gentle than last time. Thanks, guys. All right, please be seated. Unless you're Olivia, then come stand right here. little closer. Perfect. Big exhale. You just did a lot of work. Get that cough out too. I know. And she didn't even feel that great a couple of days ago, and so she's fine. Everything's good. She's good. But we're so glad that you were able to stand before us and lead us so brilliantly in prayer. Now, soft-spoken, as you always are, but that's your authentic self, right? And that's what I want you to always be. Because, Olivia, you have such, like, this special little old soul that cares about others, that cares about your friends. You're not going to be the first person, jumping up and down to answer the question right when it comes in. But you are the quiet one who sits there and is thinking deeply. You're reflecting on your thoughts of the world. You're reflecting on what's going on in the room. You're an observer. You watch, you wait for your moment, and then you have something wonderful to share. And that's really special because we need all types of people in the world. We don't always need the loudest person in the world to be the leader. Sometimes people can lead softly from the back, and they do so by example. That I'm so excited that you're going to be a madricha in our program, that we get to have little ones running around who get to see you and the way that you interact with your friends and the way that you treat other people and the way you treat them. That's what is going to really speak to them, that you are this, whether you think so or not, you're about to be really cool, okay? All the kids will think you're the coolest thing that ever woke up on a Sunday morning to be with them. And that's really special. And so my prayer for you is that you continue to be your authentic self, soft-spoken, quiet, but thoughtful and intentional, and a really good friend to those around you. So now I have Jessica here with me to help to bless you and offer you the priestly benediction. If everyone will please rise. It's okay, put a hand on a shoulder.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmarecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichoneka.
May the light of God shine upon you always and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
Olivia, wherever you go, wherever life's journey takes you, may you feel strong in your choices, confident in who you are, and may you know God's most important gift, the gift of peace. Together we say, Amen. Please have a seat unless you are mom and dad. Then you are back up to share some wonderful words of blessing with Olivia. Hold that mic nice and close so it picks up all the lovely words you have to share.
Starting a few months back, I had some to-do lists in preparation for today. One thing on my list of to-dos was to become an amazing public speaker. I did not get around to that, unfortunately. But today is your day, Olivia, and you seem fairly at ease with being up here and leading this service. As a parent, you cannot ask for much more than that. Olivia, you are our overall Sunnyside family member. I guess every family has a person who reminds everyone else to keep it light, and for many years you have played that role. When you were little, I would check in with you constantly. Every day after preschool and lower school, I would ask about your day, every single day. But it was always, good. I hope that you remember as you become an adult, your main source of happiness will not come from things and from relationships with others. I hope you will remember to seek solace from your relationship with God and from within. When it comes to brother, things are not always stars and rainbows. But you and Charlie sometimes really enjoy one another's company. You are kind to one another when you're not fighting and super, super mad at each other. I can see that you may well become adults that can support one another and lift one another up. Another consistent trait of yours is the wisdom to question things.
You always amaze me by asking the right question when confronted with new or confusing information. Sometimes it's about a math formula and I panic because I really, really, really do not understand your math. But lately you've been questioning a lot of things in our world, so I cannot wait to see where this takes you in school and at life. Olivia, you dove headfirst into your Torah portion in your Dvar Torah. You are very energized by learning new things. Sometimes that's science, but often it's makeup or fashion related. You work very hard at school and at anything you take on. You are a tough, tough girl. You ran cross country last fall after never really running at all. This is not just running at meets, but running several days a week. Most people would not have lasted a day. You also did basketball and tennis where you showed focus and the ability to enjoy being on a team. My wish for you, Olivia, is to continue to enjoy your teen years, but also to have many fun times with friends and family. But I also wish for you to begin to learn and explore more about the world outside of your school and community. I feel like you will be strong, but I wish you strength and comfort when you're met with challenges and disappointments that are naturally part of the next few chapters of life. When the good things, hold on, because it's important. When the good things and great moments happen, I wish that you'll be able to absorb them down to your toes and just breathe them in. But many days will be the days in between, and those days I hope you will know happiness and peace on those days also. And most importantly, I hope that you will shoot high and set big goals for yourself, because I know you're capable of big things. Love you, baby.
I'm a bad public speaker and I cry too, so this is going to be great. So, Olivia, while Mom and I sometimes miss that famous high-pitched voice that you used to have, we didn't miss it at all today, as we had the joy of watching and listening to you lead the service and read the Torah and do your Haftorah so beautifully and confidently. And she does smile a lot at home, by the way. Mom and I are so proud of you. You've worked hard to get to this point, and you should be proud of yourself. Your Torah portion today talks about God commanding that the Israelites follow his commandments, his rules. If they follow his rules, they will be blessed, and if they don't, they will be cursed. This is kind of fitting because you have always been someone who follows the rules. Well, most of the rules. Well, some of the rules. In fact, when we get home this afternoon, we'll go on a short tour of the house, and I'll show you how to turn off a light, and I'll even show you that there's a place for your wet towels besides your bedroom floor. If we look at following God's commandments, not just in terms of following the rules, but also in terms of doing mitzvah or good deeds, then I think you are someone who not only will be blessed, but also who brings blessings to others. There it goes. Whether it's one of your teachers who says that your heart is as big as the sun, or one of your camp counselors who says that you're the girl who always looks out for your friends, we think you've got a great foundation to build on as you find your way as a Jewish adult and a good citizen. As a teenager, you're going to be pulled in a lot of different directions. Over the next several years, it probably won't feel as black and white as your Torah portion says, that you'll follow the rules and be blessed, or if you don't, you'll be cursed. But I hope you'll continue to choose to do the right thing, not just because it might bring a blessing upon yourself, but because it's the right thing to do, and because you might be able to help a stranger, a friend, a neighbor, your community, or the world. I also hope that you'll be able to rely on your Judaism as an anchor and a guide to help you remember who you are and what is really important. But I don't want this speech to be about all about the message. You get enough of that from me at home. I want to end by telling you a few of the many things that I love about you. Deep breath. I love that you sing every day. I have no idea how you sing and do homework at the same time, but I guess it works. I hope you'll find a couple minutes every day to keep singing. I love that you're so curious and taking interest in what's going on around you. I hope you'll keep learning, asking questions, and being a mad scientist in the kitchen. I love that you're independent and that you like to figure things out for yourself. To quote that great poet and philosopher, Vanilla Ice, if there is a problem, yo, you solve it. And last but not least, I love how you get such joy out of dancing. Keep on dancing. May you have a long life filled with purpose, adventure, and laughter, surrounded by friends, family, and community. I love you.
All right. Lots of hugs, lots of hugs. Friends, final lap here of our service. Mom and Dad, stay up here. Charlie, come on up as well. If you guys will head to the ark, we're on page 40. If the congregation will please rise. Go help open.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, lated gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kamishpachot hadama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegora leinu kechol hamonam, vanachnu korim, Umishtachavim umodim Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim Hakadosh Baruch Hu V'nemar v'haya Adonai Lamelech al kol haaretz Vayom hahu Yeh Adonai echad Ushemo echad.
I guess we'll close the ark. Not as gentle, but they'll stay. All right, guys, we'll come back down here if you'll gather around right here. Friends, please be seated. We have reached the concluding prayers of our service now, a time when we call to mind the memory of loved ones, those who have died in seasons past and those in recent days. And we know that they are here, that their spirit is with us, and we see them at their best, smiling down. And so I know the family is especially thinking of Sam Harrell on this day. If you are in a period of mourning, the first 30 days after the loss of a loved one in the period of Shloshim, I invite you to rise so we may recognize you. If you're in the first year, Yud Bet, mourning the loss of a loved one, I invite you to rise so we may recognize you. If on this Shabbat you are observing a yahrzeit, a death anniversary of a loved one, you can remain standing. I invite you to rise and we can recognize you for your yahrzeit today. If it is your custom to rise for Mourner's Kaddish, as it is here at Temple Emanu-El, we invite you to do so now. The prayer can be found on page 41. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayachon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'amei amaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yit'alal shemeid kudusha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, ta'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Oh, say shalom bimromav, huya say shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru. Amen.
First family, if you'll join me down on the floor here for our challah and our Kiddush, as well as a little Vishamru to get us there. We're on the next page, Vishamru.
Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם.
Olivia, you get our big glass. Mom, Dad, and Charlie, our smaller glasses. We join together for our blessing over wine.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Chaim, it's grape juice. And if you're seated, go ahead and stand. We say a little wallah, challah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, chamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Shabbat shalom.
Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, yeh lanu, yeh lanu, ulechol Yisrael, yeh lanu, ulechol Yisrael, yeh lanu, ulechol Yisrael, yeh lanu, ulechol Yisrael.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.